Hi there. This is Lauren with Posh. If you do not see the live in the upper corner, then I am no longer live. I am just trying to see how I can add Brandy. Bear with me. Brandy, are you on? Sorry, it's a little wobbly. I just tagged Brandy, and I didn't know. I thought that there was an option to add her, and I don't see that. Sorry. Okay. So I was going to do a tutorial for the hot chocolate tumbler. I'm looking for my donut that I don't have because it's gone. For those who saw it, it's the drip that was on the top of the tumbler that looked like donut icing. I'm not seeing any comments or anything yet. So what I have here is I'm going to be doing a 12-ounce Hogg tumbler, and I'm going to get my epoxy together. Bear with me one second. Hi there. I see comments now. Can you hear me okay over my heater? I can turn it off if it's too loud. So I'm also, while doing this tutorial, I'm also going to be showing you how to use the quick coat. So when I get to that step, because a lot of people have asked about how to use it and when to use it, I am using the counterculture epoxy. And so when I get to the step of sealing the water slide, and right before my final coat, thank you, I will also show you how to use that. So I'm doing the 12-ounce Hogg, and I have not done the chocolate drip yet, but I am going to do so because it can't be that much different than the donut tumbler. So I mix my part B first. They have said that mixing B in before A helps it activate faster. And so that's just what I do. And I don't have pumps. One time, I think it was about a year ago, somebody had posted that they had picked up a couple of, I don't know if they were quartz or what they were, but they were at Walmart, and they were like in the Tupperware section, and they had spouts on them. That I did give that a try, and that was a no-go. A spout got stopped up and it started leaking everywhere. I had to turn the spout upside down, so I decided to just not do that anymore. So I just stick with my gallon jugs and measure accordingly, and it works just fine for me. So I've also mentioned how I give my epoxy a warm bath, because that also helps activate. And so I just put some warm water in, this is just old dish detergent or laundry detergent cap, and I just put my cup and I let it sit there, and I'll stir it, because that also helps decrease the bubbles. Have you tried it yet, Christine? I love it. I have not, ever since I started using it, I have not done a tumbler without using it. I use it with my alcohol inks, the wood grains, any type of alcohol inks, that alcohol ink blown that I just did on the white base. Oh, thank you, Maya. At least he's not hooting and hollering, getting the dogs to bark like he previously did in one of the storyboard tumbler tutorials that I did. So what did you think about it, Christine? Did you notice, do you also use the counterculture epoxy? So I am just stirring it. I'm going to do a white base with the white glitter. I mix a bunch of different sizes of the Chris-tal together, and I just put them in a jar. I'm also going to use some Snow White Snowflakes, and then I'm gonna slap a water slide on, and how I did my donut tumbler is I did the icing of the donut a layer before my final layer. It turned out very smooth. It is, I don't know, it's like liquid gold, I swear. I don't know what the trick is with that. But I have never had another issue. I have had so many issues with epoxy, and I don't know where you're located, but we're in Missouri and it's cold. So the weather definitely affects the mixing and whatnot, but I keep a space heater going all the time. And my epoxy is, the gallon jugs are on the same shelf as my space heater, so it doesn't get cold. But I don't know, it's something that, and it's super easy. All that you do is, I don't know what you used, but I just use a brush and I just brush it on, and then I set my cup down here and it dries super fast. Oh, we're supposed to get snow tomorrow. I'm not a cold weather person by any means. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my glove on, and I This is the only one that I have going right this very second. I have a bunch of vinyl to do that I just have not gotten to yet. So I'm going to tilt you down a little bit, and hopefully you can see. And I'm going to turn my spinner on. And I know that there was a lady today, I wish I remembered who it was, that she was asking, your room could be insulated more than others. Yes, I have, I'm in Missouri, Ashley. St. Charles, Missouri. I literally have myself barricaded in a corner with plastic for these all around to keep the heat in. So I am not messing around when it comes to my cups. I just want them done, and I want them to be perfect, and I don't want to have to go back and fix any fish eyes or any problems that could be prevented. So I'm barricaded and it's warm. So I am going, and I have been all over my house. I started on my dining room table. Hi, Brandy's here. I couldn't figure out how to add you to the video. I mean, there's a bunch of buttons down there, but I don't know really. Yeah, temperature control. That's right, Caroline. I didn't see where I can add you. It says I can wave to you, but it doesn't, I don't see where I can add you to the video. So, my epoxy has been sitting in a warm bath, and for those just joining, after I mixed my part A and part B, measured out appropriately, in this, I take a little laundry detergent cup, and I put warm water in here, and I set my cup in here, and this is something that Counterculture actually suggested, and so I went with it, and it works. It activates faster, the bubbles decrease, so I just roll with it. But I'm going to go ahead and move you over. You know, I did not actually stick a thermometer in the water. It was hot, so it's enough to just get my epoxy going. So you can go with whatever works for you. And some people don't do the warm bath, but if you haven't tried it, you definitely should, especially for all of those that, I mean, there's so many different kinds of epoxies that everyone uses, so everyone knows my preferred brand, along with, I'll have to do another video on the armor art. That's a lot of fun. But anywho, okay, so I have the 12 ounce Hogg tumbler, the, what is it, short, slim something, I don't know the name of it, and I have all of my white glitter that I'm using mixed, and I am going to throw some snowflakes on there, and I do a flood coat for my first layer, because the flood coat helps soak up that epoxy, especially since I'm using a chunky fine mix. I want it to make sure that it sticks. I don't like doing a whole bunch of layers. I don't like my cups to be weighed down. So I prefer flood coats. Now, when I'm using a fine glitter, that's a different story, because then you run into the obstacles of the streaks, and some of your glitter soaks up more than the other, and you have to keep shaking it, and that's just a little too much. The majority of my tumblers are consist of chunky glitters, so I am just making sure that I am getting my tumbler completely coated with the first layer of epoxy. And for those that haven't done tumblers, I do the epoxy method. I despise Mod Podge. I hate it. The epoxy method works for me. That is what I'm doing now. And I really wish I remembered that lady's name, but I will save the video, so hopefully she wanted to start doing tumblers, so she could have hung out. There's not heat blowing on the cup right now. There's just heat. I have my space heater that's actually sitting maybe 6 feet away. So it's definitely blowing in this vicinity, especially since I have these plastic walls around that is locking all of the heat in. And I can apply this first layer, and 4 hours later, if I want to, I can come back and apply another layer. Can you hear me with the heat blowing? Because I can turn it off if you're having trouble hearing. Okay, so I have my tumbler spinning, and I don't know if you can really see, but there are barely any bubbles, and that is what you would like to stay away from. So just to make sure, you can take, I use this torch, and I use this butane. I'm pretty sure that I got this micro torch off of Amazon, and I got this off of Amazon, I do believe. I think I did, because I know that I got one from Menards, and that one did not have a long life expectancy. So, but this is the fuel that you use, and to refill it, I know some people are scared, so I'll just go ahead and show you. It's super easy. And this is actually my full can. Let me get my... So I prefer a torch over a heat gun because the torch pops the bubbles immediately, and you don't have to, all that you have to do is wisp over it really quick and you're done. So there is this hole underneath here, and then there is this tip here. Maybe it is from Harbor Freight. It could be. So you just shake this up, and I am going to turn my heater off just to show you how you know when it's full. So you just attach the nozzle to the hole, and you're going to hear it. It's going to start to spit like that, and that's when you know that it's full. And that's all that you do. Easy, and well, it just fell off. So I'll point you back down. I just take my torch, kind of like a creme brulee. You just go over it really fast, and you make sure that all of those micro bubbles are gone. Sometimes you get a little torch happy, and you don't want to do that because you do not want to burn your epoxy. That's not something that you want to do. And it stinks when you do that. So, anywho, I have all of my whites mixed, and I am going to just pour them on my tumbler. while it's spinning. And I just make sure that I cover it really good, because I'm a sucker for whites. Everybody knows that. I love white glitter. And so when you're using chunky, you want to make sure that your rim does not have the chunkies sticking out. So I just hold my finger along the edge and I just kind of push them back down there. Not really push, but they'll move down there on their own while it's spinning. So, and just tap them down, because I don't like sanding. It happens every once in a while, but I don't want to do it. It's another thing that's just too much. And then I just go around the tumbler. Any chunky pieces that may be sticking out, I just pat them back down and just tell them they need to lay there. And they're going to be a beautiful cup in a little bit. And if it feels a little sticky still, because remember I did a flood coat, so it's going to soak up the glitters, and I just let it spin for a little bit, and then I am going to put another good dash of glitter back over it. So nothing is sticking up. All of them are laying down how they're supposed to, and that definitely helps you in the long run, because you will spend more time sanding, and you don't want to sand, especially if you have colored glitter. Like if you're using, like the holidays. So if you're using a holidays, which is all chunky glitters, and I just put it on the bottom base. If you don't put enough epoxy on and you put this on, you will, if you have to sand it and you don't put enough epoxy on, you're gonna sand your colors off of your glitter. I thought a flood coat was to pour the epoxy on. No, a flood coat is just a thick layer of epoxy. I mean, maybe it is. Everybody has different lingo. But a flood coat typically is you are applying a thick layer of epoxy. And so that is what I prefer to do, especially when doing a chunky, because if your epoxy layer is too thin, then you could have problems with your glitters sticking to the tumbler. Many glitters will poke out of the epoxy, like they won't be covered. I only use a thin coat when doing a fine glitter. And so since it's spun a little bit around, I'm going to apply some more glitter. And then I'm going to go back to the top rim, and I am going to just make sure that none are sticking out there. And then tap some of those that may be sticking out down. So I mixed the Chris-tal, the ultra fine. I mixed, or the Chris-tal dust. I used the 0.8, the 1.5, and I believe that there were a few of the 2s in here. And I also have the Snowflake, Snow White Snowflakes. And I don't know how many of you have ordered these, but these are a lot of fun. And if you've noticed, if you apply them by hand instead of just dumping them on your tumbler, some of them have a few that are actually all stuck together. So I like to make sure that they are separated, because you'll notice if you are applying them by hand that some are a little bit thicker than others, and that is when there are multiple that are just in that one cut, and it's just from the film and how it's cut from our supplier. So I am just placing these. I am going to make sure that I do not place them like this one just separated. I'm going to make sure that I don't place them in the middle of one section, because that is where I'm going to apply my water slide. But I'm just going to sporadically put them on there. These are really, I love it when the light hits them on the tumbler, like when it's a completed tumbler, because it just gives it like that extra little pop. Has anyone else done a chocolate drip yet? Anyone that's watching? That donut was so much fun. That was my first one, and I really had a lot of fun with it. There is no reason to be intimidated, because all that it is trial and error and playing, and I mean, you can always go back and fix whatever does not look right to you. I just knew that I didn't want mine sticking up. Like I didn't want it being super like bulgy, or I don't know what you even call it, off of the tumbler. Because I did see one the other day, and I don't know what I really thought about it. There was something on the top of it, and it was like a lump of something stuck on there, and I just did not, that's not what I'm going for. I don't want it to look like something was just like slapped on there, and yeah, I don't like hot messes, so. But another good thing the torch comes in handy is that you can maneuver, like how I did that was I used so for this, I'm going to use for the chocolate, I'm going to use a mica powder. What I used for the donut icing was our new shortcake, the fine, and I mixed a lot of the glitter in with epoxy and just got it super thick. And I waited a little bit when I mixed it, and got it super thick and drizzled it on there with a stir stick. And I played with it. You'll see. We'll just do it. I'll probably be able to get to that step tomorrow, because while I'm doing this one, tomorrow I will apply another layer of epoxy during the day, so I don't need to bore you guys with that. I will do another layer during the day, and then tomorrow night I should be ready to do that chocolate drizzle around the rim, which I'm excited to do, because those hot chocolate tumblers are great for any of your, if you're doing any craft fairs, people love those tumblers. especially for like little stocking stuffers. They're great gifts. What's everyone's big cup that they're working on now? The snowflakes are fun, Rita. And there's a lot of them. They stick together. So, I mean, a half ounce. This is not a half ounce. This is like the samplers, or the sample items that we have included in our Sunday sampler. It's a lot. And you just separate them and then just dab them on there. And they're not, they're super flimsy, so they're really easy to work with. They don't stick up from the tumbler. Like I'm sticking it on there with my finger and they just lay right down wherever you put them. But I do make sure that I'm separating them. Because I don't want them to stick up. And they're really, the snowflakes are a good one in the storyboard tumblers. Especially the blue, the Jack Frost snowflake, because it's the holographic. And these are just like the sun hits the cup a certain way and you see them, the silver and white. Okay, so I'm just going to pat it down and make sure that nothing is sticking up. And then I will come back Oh, we did say that at the same time. They're called Snow White Snowflakes. Or if you're on the search and you type in snowflake, they'll come up. They're in our Winter Wonderland mix. Starry Night, or the blue in the Starry Night. Brandy, you may need to help me with that. So this is step one. Very easy, just like you're doing the regular tumbler base. Were they in the last sampler pack? The blue ones were, weren't they? And this week is the tinsel, or stars. The glitzy stars are in this week's. Have you seen the Jack Frost ones, Rita? Or you've just missed the Snow White? So I also will, I will run my torch over this. I like to use the torch. I just like everything to be smooth, and I want it to really sink in. And I just use these handy dandy wipes for my hands because I should have had a glove on, but it's too much when messing with those snowflakes. And I haven't had any reaction to counterculture, which I have had an epoxy reaction previously, and it was literally the worst thing that I've ever had to deal with. So, no, anything related to snowflakes. I feel ya. I hate winter. I am not a cold weather person. I don't like it at all. I love Christmas. I love the holidays. But I do not like cold weather. I am not a cold weather person. I will not go out of the house until springtime comes around again. I mean, I will go out. I have to go out. I have to take my son to school every day. But I don't want to go out. And I definitely, I don't care to like frolic around in it. So I'm just going over this. When do I take my tape off? I will let this spin for about an hour. And then I take it off. I mean, I could take it off now. It won't do anything. Especially not on my first coat. Because I did a flood coat, I put a lot of glitter on, and nothing is going to move. I waited for my epoxy to warm up, and that is really when you want to apply your epoxy, is when you feel some sort of heat going on with it. Because if you're not feeling any heat, then it is not activated fully yet. So I could take my tape off now. As soon as I find my edge. And see, with counterculture, you don't have drips of epoxy dripping everywhere because it's not runny. You can manage it. It's not dripping anywhere, which is why it was also, I believe, easier for me to do that donut tumbler, is because it is a thicker consistency. So I took my tape off. I won't have to come back down in an hour. I can get some other work done, like a lot of vinyl cutting that I'm not really looking forward to. I just take my wipe and I wipe around where my tape met, because I will get a little line there and I don't want it. And it just, if there's any little glitter sticking out, it pushes it up. So they're all in their happy little line. And they're all flat. And all the flakes are flat. And I will turn my heater back on. And this will spin for the night. And then tomorrow I will come back. I will apply another layer of epoxy. And then tomorrow evening we can meet up again. Or I'll save these and you can catch the replays, but I will put the chocolate drizzle on the top and the water slide and use the quick coat. So that'll be fun. Anybody have any other questions? No? All right, well, thank you all for joining me. If you think of any other questions between now and tomorrow, you can definitely put them in the comments section and I will answer them. All right, ladies, have a good evening and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.